So just going to do a little vid of our sling setup that we're using to turn our Juraside panels up into the right orientation to get them up onto our roof. So they're really tricky because there's lots of slopes, there's lots of overhanging metal bits that you can't put pressure on. So we think we've got a good system. So on the bottom, a piece of wood, one dimension of which sticks out further than the metal overhang, so that doesn't get squished. I've got some screws either side of the slings so they don't slide around. And essentially one sling, or two sets of slings, goes around the wood and then along the back, top and bottom. And those are the slings that take the weight when we eventually hoist it up towards the ridge. And then we've got two sets of slings, again around the wood, that go around the front. And those are sort of control slings, so when we're hoisting them up towards the ridge, the top of the panel can't tip backwards. And then for this stage of the lift, we've got a sling off the bottom corner, which is going to be used to take some of the weight as it gets pulled up in this direction off the ground, as the other person lifts from the ground. But in order to keep this sling in the right corner and stop it moving around, we've put a spacer, so a decking board, favourite bit of equipment, with a hole in each end. So then we've tucked both sets of slings through, so that's just wrapped round to keep them tidy, and then that's used to winch from. So the next stage is one person taking this sling up the ladder up onto the roof so they can take some of the weight, and then the other person can lift from the bottom. And we've obviously got polystyrene set up at the moment, so yeah, the other bit of side of the panel is foam, and it's angled, but it's relatively solid, so on the ground I suppose is fine, but in order to protect it we've got some polystyrene which came with the panels, so that's nice. And then as the panel rights itself onto its base, we have two other bits of polystyrene because this metal bit might dig in the stones or the ground and get damaged. So hopefully that gives it a nice bed to land on, and as you'll see in the other video, it ends up nice and vertical, ready to be winched onto the roof.